20 hours on a bus, a charter plane out of the Middle East, and a one-off game carrying the expectations of 48 million people. Iraq's journey to the 2026 World Cup was not for the faint-hearted. The Lions of Mesopotamia were the final country to secure their spot with this summer's tournament that saw them play 21 matches over the space of more than 2 years.
To Ivanka Trump, Cezanne was a find. Thousands of Albanians, however, fear that it could be their loss. In an interview with American podcaster David Senra this week, Ivanka, the eldest daughter of United States President Donald Trump, described the uninhabited island off Albania's west coast almost as a patch of land that she and her husband Jared Kushner were the first to discover. Chinese President Xi Jinping will visit North Korea on June 8-9, following an invitation from Kim Jong-un, according to state broadcaster CCTV. The visit, announced on Friday, comes as Beijing seeks to shore up ties, with Pyongyang having strengthened relations with Russia. Xi also recently met with the leaders of Russia and the United States.
The Punjab government has relaxed operating hour restrictions for cinemas, allowing them to remain open until 11 p.m. under its revised business timing framework. The move comes after actor and producer Fahad Mustafa urged the provincial government to reconsider the earlier restrictions, which he said were affecting the cinema business and limiting evening shows for audiences. The Federal Directorate of Education, FDE, in collaboration with the Ministry of Inter-Provincial Coordination and the Pakistan Sports Board, has announced a summer sports camp for school children at the Pakistan Sports Complex during the summer vacations. The camp will run from June 15 to June 25, with training sessions scheduled from Monday to Thursday. Officials said the initiative aims to promote physical fitness, healthy recreational activities and sports development among students through coaching at international standard facilities.
The Karachi Metropolitan Corporation, KMC, has completed preparations to introduce a new tax targeting hotels, guest houses, marriage halls, Airbnb properties and other hospitality businesses in the city. Under the proposal, KMC plans to levy a 1% tax on bills generated by hotels, guest houses, lodges, marriage halls, marquees, marriage lawns, marriage banquet facilities and Airbnb accommodations. The levy has been proposed under a new category titled Entertainment Tax, City Tourism and Hospitality.
NVIDIA's upcoming RTX Spark laptops may cost more than many buyers expected, placing the new Windows on ARM machines closer to Apple's MacBook Pro lineup than mainstream Windows laptops. A pricing estimate cited by Video Cards places laptops and PCs using the higher-end RTX Spark N1X platform at around £2,899, while systems based on the standard N1 platform may start near £1,799. NVIDIA has not confirmed pricing for RTX Spark laptops yet.
SIND's online college admissions portal is operating smoothly after recent upgrades. The SIND Education Department confirmed. A spokesperson for the department said the online admissions portal operated by the SIND College Education Department is functioning normally. Security forces killed 6 terrorists in an intelligence-based operation. In Balochistan's Panjgur district, the military's media affairs wing said on Friday. In a statement, Inter-Services Public Relations said that on the night of June 3-4, security forces conducted an IBO on the reported presence of terrorists belonging to Indian proxy, Fitna al-Hindustan. The Supreme Court dismissed on Thursday Zahir Jaffer's plea for a review of its decision upholding his death sentence in one of Pakistan's most high-profile cases of violence against women. Jaffer was sentenced to death in February 2022 by a sessions court in Islamabad for the 2021 murder of Noor Muqaddam, with subsequent appeals in the Islamabad High Court and Supreme Court ending in rulings that upheld the punishment. Israel secretly deployed elite military and intelligence units to Azerbaijan during the war with Iran as part of a network of covert sites across the Middle East to facilitate operations against Iran. Four sources familiar with the matter said the forces operated out of several locations in southern Azerbaijan. Two of the sources said adjacent to Iran's northern border and at its closest point, only about 60 miles from the Iranian city of Tabriz, which Israel struck during the war. Israel has continued to carry out deadly strikes across Lebanon, despite the announcement of a new US-brokered ceasefire agreement reached by Lebanese and Israeli officials in Washington, D.C. The violence has pushed the number of casualties higher, with Lebanon's Ministry of Public Health reporting that at least 3,526 people have been killed and 10,733 wounded in Israeli attacks since March 2.
The University of Health Sciences, UHS, has announced plans to launch new PhD programs in nursing, public health, pharmacy, medical laboratory technology, MLT, and oral biology. The announcement was made by UHS Vice-Chancellor Prof. Dr. Ahsan Wahid Rathor during the 226th meeting of the Advanced Studies and Research Board, ASRB. Muzaffarabad. The general elections for the Azad, Jammu and Kashmir Legislative Assembly will be held on July 27. The AJK Election Commission notified on Friday. The notification, a copy of which is available with Dawn, said that candidates could file their nomination papers with returning officers from June 9 to 4 p.m. on June 19. It said that the scrutiny of nomination papers would be carried out from June 20, while the list of the eligible candidates would be submitted on the same day.
Dear Junaid Hafeez, we are writing to reassure you that, although we sentenced you to death nearly 7 years ago, you should take some solace in the fact that we have never hanged anyone convicted of blasphemy.
China's leader Xi Jinping is visiting long-standing ally North Korea for the first time in nearly 7 years. State media report Xi will be in North Korea from 8 to 9 June at the invitation of his counterpart Kim Jong-un. Xi last visited Pyongyang in 2019.
Karachi, Pakistan. Over a few breezy winter weeks in Karachi, boxing coach Yunus Kambrani sent a steady stream of WhatsApp messages from his neighbourhood of Liari, videos, photos, old newspaper clippings that together formed an extensive archive of how he teaches girls to throw a punch. In one of the videos, the bearded and skullcap-clad Kambrani, 60, uses the palms of his hands and ducks as his young students practice throwing their punches. The thuds of the colliding boxing gloves and the scuff of the sneakers against the concrete floor of Kambrani's Pak Shaheen boxing club mask the din on the street.
Climate change could have a major impact on the FIFA World Cup 2026, with a new analysis warning that heat conditions may affect player performance in almost every match of the tournament. According to Climate Central, 97 of the 104 scheduled matches across the United States, Mexico and Canada are now more likely to be played in temperatures above 28 degrees Celsius. Previous scientific research has linked this temperature level with reduced football performance.
Researchers are exploring an unconventional cancer treatment that uses engineered bacteria to target the oxygen-free environments inside tumours. A University of Waterloo-led team is developing a tool that modifies bacteria to enter solid tumours, grow inside them and destroy them from within. Karachi's worsening urban heat is no longer just a seasonal discomfort and could turn into a major public health crisis if urgent action is not taken, a senior community health expert has warned. Prof. Zafar Fatmi, who heads Environmental Occupational Health and Climate Change at Aga Khan University's Department of Community Health Sciences, said the city's urban heat effect appears to be growing more intense due to both climate change and the way Karachi is expanding.
The OCAF department has taken disciplinary action against 4 officials previously posted at the shrine of Hazrat Bibi Pak Daman after an inquiry found evidence of embezzlement of donations offered by devotees. The action was taken as part of an ongoing crackdown on financial irregularities in the department. Investigations launched on the directions of the OCAF board concluded that Nazrana collected at the shrine had been misappropriated violating the trust of visitors and worshippers. As Pakistan battles the devastating impacts of global climate change, Oil and Gas Development Company Limited, OGDC, is at the forefront of sustainable transformation. As the country's largest exploration and production E&P company, OGDC is aligning its operations with global climate priorities while continuing to support national energy needs. The company's approach reflects a growing recognition that economic growth and environmental sustainability must go hand in hand.
Pakistan's summers are no longer what they used to be. Lahore, Karachi, Multan, Hyderabad, cities that once peaked at 44 degrees Celsius are now crossing 50 degrees Celsius. This is not a temporary anomaly. It is the new baseline, and it is getting worse. The question every Pakistani household must now ask is not whether they need an air conditioner, but whether the one they buy can actually perform when the heat is at its most punishing. Most cannot. And that is a problem worth understanding before you spend your money.
Chinese President Xi Jinping will visit North Korea from June 8 to 9, state news agency Xinhua said on Friday, his first trip in nearly 7 years, as Beijing looks to reassert ties with Pyongyang. The announcement follows separate summits Xi hosted in Beijing for US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin last month. Trump, who met North Korean leader Kim Jong-un 3 times in his first term, previously said he would be open to meeting the North Korean leader again.
Mira Murati isn't a natural creature of the conference stage. As the CTO of OpenAI, she was present but rarely the public face of the company. As CEO of her own company, Thinking Machines Lab, she has been even harder to find. So when she sat down with Bloomberg in San Francisco on Thursday, her first major public appearance in roughly 18 months, it was worth paying attention. Even if she was careful not to say too much, the timing makes sense. Thinking Machines has spent the better part of a year and a half operating largely in the background, raising capital, hiring researchers, and shipping one product, Tinker, an API for fine-tuning open-source AI models. Cite's 2026 study that finds Karachi has highest urban-rural temperature difference. Says emergency response not enough, the city must reduce heat at its source. Links pollution, dense construction, traffic and tree loss to growing health risks Karachi, highlighting the multiple environmental challenges Karachi faces. Senior community health sciences expert has called for urgent actions at both the government and individual levels to tackle the growing urban heat problem that's silently damaging public health and productivity.
Pakistan has one of the highest diabetes prevalence rates in the world. About 1 in 3 adults is living with diabetes here, some 33 to 34 million people. Shouldn't there be public information campaigns to raise awareness about preventing living with diabetes? Where are these programs in Pakistan? Heart disease is the leading cause of mortality in Pakistan. It is responsible for an estimated 30 to 40% of deaths. Pakistan's cardiovascular disease rate is 648.6 persons per 100,000. The ischemic heart disease rate is 188 per 100,000 persons. Both are the highest in the region.